What's up, everybody? How are you? Happy Monday. It's been a long weekend and it's been a long Monday. I am tired. I can officially say I'm tired, but I'm good. I'm glad to be here. I'm ready to rock and roll with you all. Today, this is Real Talk with Dr. Marilyn Corder. The doctor will be with us shortly, and then we can really have those kind of conversations that you all want to have. Once and foremost, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. And if you watch it from Facebook, please subscribe to it. I mean, Facebook, share it. If you watch it from YouTube, subscribe to it. Hey, Stefania, how are you? Hey, Lena, how's it going? I'm sure the doctor will be with us shortly. So that way I'll get out the sponsors and get them out the way real quick. Real Talk is sponsored by the Daily Arts of Survival magazine. This is the sixth edition with Dr. Wesley Snipes on it. Um, we got a love thing going on. Trust me. Uh, Shout out to them. You see who's in there. Real Talk, baby. We're being seen by the world. It's also sponsored by Ingram Taxes. They still do your taxes no matter what problems you may have. We reach out to Ingram Taxes. Reggie Wells, quality speakers. Bum, 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 bum. They go for $85. He sells them for $75. You got to reach out to him or just tell me, and I will tell Reggie. They're nice speakers. Melba Wilson, her restaurant. Chocolat, Leon Ellis restaurant and Harlem Underground. It's online. Also, Soft Illusions Art Gallery. That lady behind me, they're up for the Art Gallery of the Year in Philadelphia. When she gives me the link, I hope all of you support and vote for her and her mother because they're doing their thing. So that's a big thing. Now, with that being said and saying all of that, you know, crime is crime in New York City. Hey, Gemma, how are you? Uh, hey, X, Sharon, what's going on? Gemma said, congratulations, Malika.
Thank you.
So, crime is crime. We're talking about the insurrection. Everybody's going to trial. They talking about 45. We also have what was the thing I was just looking at? Oh, Fox. Fox trying to dog out Mayor Adams, talking about he's partying too much. Everything is good, Sharon. She said, "What's up?" Sharon says, "What's up?"
Hi, Sharon.
you know, so we're gonna be talking about some stuff. We're talking about some gun violence. It's definitely Wednesday. I don't know what the doc might want to talk about. The doc might want to talk about mental illness. Whatever the doc wants to talk about, we'll talk about tonight when she gets here. And hey, Bernard, what's going on, brother? Listen, also, just for all you two to know, I doing a brunch party this Saturday coming up. Come out, show some love, and we rock out. Yolanda, I need to get more information on that situation so we can talk about it Wednesday. Yolanda sent me some information on a young man getting beat up in what borough was that the young man got beat up in, Yolanda? Uh, I don't recall. I was on the highway a lot today, but let me know. And without further ado, I have to bring the birthday lady in. Happy birthday, everybody. Give Dr. Corder some love. Give us some hearts, man.
Hey,
Happy
thank
birthday.
you.
Birthday girl.
Yeah, you know?
Thank you. Hey,
Exactly.
look how I spelled my name. Okay, I'm giving love to the generations.
Oh, she put Forster up in there. Yeah.
Hey,
You went historical that day. You went historical today.
there you
That's
go. There
that's
you go.
listen.
I'm
I don't
Doris
think,
Foster. My mama, Doris Jean Foster. I had to give her a shout out, and yes, thanks to her, I was
yes,
born. Well, her and Daddy, I have to give him some credit too.
yeah, yeah.
I was born
Definitely.
some
Shout out to
XX.
Uncle Mac. Yep.
Yes,
Shout out to Uncle
several
Mac.
years ago, they conceived a baby, and that was me.
Exactly. Did you what did you do for your birthday?
Well, I tell you, I should have video. What did I do for my birthday? I did stuff in the community. I was officiating a boxing event in Kenilworth, in
Okay.
Southeast. And look, in Northeast rather, which is not the greatest part of the city, but I had already committed. And I realized that was my birthday. And I told the guys, look, the coaches and the USA Boxing Commission, I said, I'm going to do it. It's my birthday, but I'm going to do it. So 3 or 4 times they said happy birthday. But it was nice. As much as you can give back, you should. And that was my gift for the community for my birthday. So it was a gift for me. And I met some wonderful people. As you guys know, I'm a boxing official. I don't fight. I just make sure the fighters are safe. I do the physicals in the beginning, and then through it out, I have to see and be there ringside. They can't start the fights until I'm there. So I was there from 9 to 5. So that was my birthday.
Yeah. And what's so funny, a lot of people don't know, but maybe you could just give them an idea. She's not just doing a little okie doke fight. She's done top-notch main events, right? So
yes,
I know.
Yes. And I smile because several of my amateurs, so I do both. I do USA Boxing, plus I'm also part of the Professional Boxing Commission. And I think I was the first female in the DMV, but there's several of us now. Yay. So in the beginning, it's been 20 years now. And one of the reasons I do that, like you, cuz trying to get these kids off the street and giving them something that they can relate to and be a part of in a positive way. We want to see report cards. We want to know how you're doing. The parents are like, I'm going to get him in boxing because he's fighting anyway, so let's make it official. As the medical director for DYRS, which is our juvenile detention, I was there for 10 years. I saw the potential. I've been knowing the potential. But I'm like, you know what? Before they come through the gates, not pearly gates, but the lock gates, let's go ahead and have them before the gates. In the community doing the right thing. I have to date 9, maybe 10 boxers who are my amateurs who are professionals. Okay, I have done some Mayweather fights, but these are my professionals here from the DMV. Of course, we know Sugar Ray Leonard from the DMV, Tank from Baltimore. So many of these kids now, and I call them all kids because again, I'm old. Many of them I saw as they were little. 6 and 7 years old. The boxing gloves are big as their head, but they out there doing this. Okay. And I'm now seeing them professional with undefeated, and we have girls. I love it. We have this, we now have, I know I wasn't supposed to talk about this, but this is my show, so I'm gonna talk about anything.
There you go. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear.
Okay. Yeah. But we have we call it Hogo rather, heels off, gloves on. So we have an all-female official and boxers that we're kicking off and doing because females, we know how to fight too. Okay. And we have a couple of undefeated professional boxers, female boxers here in the DMV. So that's how I spent my birthday, cuz.
Good. How was the show? What'd you talk about this weekend?
No. So what I did, I took a vacation. I told Radio 1 because I'm boxing and often I have to step away. I said for the first time in almost 100 years, I'm going to take a bye from the show. We're kicking back in next Saturday, but I have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about.
I know you are. I'm. Listen, if I'd have known that, I would have tried to ask your hubby to give cousin Fred to give you an understudy. What's up, Jacob? Shout out to Jacob, the Daily Arts of Survival magazine, Ingram Taxes, one of our sponsors. Wesley Snipes is on this edition, the #1 martial arts magazine in the country right now. So there's so much to talk about, and I don't know what you want to talk about, but we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. We got gun violence, we got mental illness that they're talking about. We have so many other things. I don't know if anybody out here has questions for the doctor. Please, if you do, ask her. I see Vera with the great last name because we have a person that Vera. She's a great family friend, but she has the last name Foster. She's not family. She should be, but that last name.
We are family. We are family.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever you want to talk about, Doc, what's on your mind? What you feeling about the world or health, whatever.
Okay, so I don't think we've spoken about this because I don't think it happened so drastically since my last show. How about this formula shortage?
Wow. Right.
Wow. Let me tell y'all something. I've been a physician now 44 years. I finished medical school in 1978. Some of your audience weren't born, or they all could have been my patient. Okay.
Yeah.
I have never, ever in my whole career, and I'm from chief of the nursery at one of the major hospitals to chief of staff to boxing to DYRS professor, private practice. I've never seen a formula shortage. My God, what happened? Now, I will say, in my practice, I convince even before the babies are born, I have folks come in to meet me and tell, so they see what to expect of me, and I tell them what I expect of them, and I tell them they have to breastfeed. They're like, what? They have to breastfeed. So 80% of my patients breastfeed. Thank God, because we know that's what that milk is for. That's the baby's milk that they're supposed to have. That's what I breast are for. Okay, fellas, that's what I breast are for real, for real. All right. Okay.
That's real talk.
Now, and I've been saying this forever. Now, we do have some decent formulas. Well, we had some, but we have decent formulas that, we'll say more like breast milk, just like breast milk, as close as breast milk, but it's not breast milk. So because of my mandate practically to breastfeed, many of my parents were like, wow, Dr. Corder, I'm so glad you told us to breastfeed because we wasn't going to, but you made such a big deal about it. We don't have to worry about trying to find milk. But there are some that still did. So right. I have samples. They give us doctor samples. Of course, they've decreased, but I've gone and given 2 or 3 cans at a time, making sure. My last radio show last Saturday, the Saturday before this past Saturday, I advertised. I said, you don't even have to be my patient. I just don't want you doing the serious thing and the thing that can hurt your baby by diluting the milk, adding extra water, trying to spread it. No. It's not like jelly on the bread. You cannot do that. What that does, it causes the less of what we call sodium, etc., and the nourishment. And what then results would be a child with a hyponatremic system, which can cause seizure and brain damage. Just that. So now they had that big plane and they came over, but I want you all to know that was the plane filled with those specialized formulas. There's some specialized formulas that some children just can't drink anything but that. And I'm a geneticist, so I used to coordinate with a lot of those children who had just an unusual gut and they just couldn't drink anything else. So that's what came first, because that was life threatening. Well, I think all of this life threatening if you can't feed your baby. Right. But anyway, that's my take. And Abbott, which is it was like 40% of all the production of formula was where they found contaminants. And 4 babies got sick, 2 died. So they had to shut it down. People are like, what they shut it down for? So nobody else would die. So they, apparently they had some warnings, etc. So you just can't. I'm telling you, you got to grow your own food. You just can't trust everything. That's why if you're expecting a baby, breastfeed. If nothing else, this has shown you can't trust it. And I know I'm not going to sit here and call like my colleagues. I have a buddy of mine who I trained. She was the neonatologist at Howard. She just retired, Dr. Michael Young. She called the formulas poison. And this way before
really?
It happened. Yeah, she's like, that, don't feed that baby poison. Well, we've come a long ways from the pet milk, carnation milk, and Karo syrup and water. Okay, we now have the formula, and they're either soy, gentle ease. We have like 30 different ones. And we tailor it to your baby. But as much as you can do that, breastfeeding is the best. When I had my children 30 plus years ago, breastfeeding was not so in vogue. And I'll never forget my mom said, why are y'all breastfeeding? Yeah. She looked at us, she looked at Fred, and she looked at me. We both were residents in pediatrics. She said, both of y'all are doctors. Y'all can't afford formula? What's going on? Okay. Because it was taboo in her day, poor women breastfed. Yeah. So get back to natural, and that's breastfeeding. I'm going to stop talking because I know there may be some questions and comments before I go to another topic.
No, but that's a great point. And if there are, please, everybody. So this is Celebration of Life, of course, Dr. Marilyn Corder birthday over the weekend. And she's willing to talk about anything you want to talk about. This is Real Talk Chronicles. This is Real Talk with Dr. Marilyn Corder, her show tonight. But let me ask you a question. Why was it taboo for women to breastfeed, and why is it better for babies to have breast milk? And then we can go to another topic unless they have questions. Yes. 2
very important. So it was taboo for women to breastfeed because women were out working, etc. When I say taboo, it was the poor women who were breastfeeding. They couldn't do anything but breastfeed. And so if people look down on them because you poor, you can't buy that milk, whatever the milk was at the time, be it the best thing for the baby. But of course, tables have turned, and now it is the elite best thing for your baby to breastfeed. Now, your second question, I forgot. What was your second question? I'm getting older.
Yeah, we both are, because I asked why was it taboo. Now, why is it better just
Okay.
medically for women to
Oh yeah.
breastfeed?
Oh yeah. Okay. So guess what? Once you have delivered a baby, guess what's happening to your body?
It's changing,
You
right?
you you right. You but you're making milk. So
Mm.
so I'm gonna go full spectrum. God said breastfeed because He put that milk in there, right? That's one thing. Naturally, we all mammals breastfeed. You see the cows, you see all the dogs. We stupid. We don't breastfeed. I'm sorry, I said that. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, why is it? Because there's something called your immune system. If ever there's a time to improve your newborn baby's immune system, this is now. The baby will get your immune, will get what we call the best of the best. It helps the digestion, it helps the brain. There's something in the breast milk that also helps develop the eye and the cognitive. It helps the gut. We tend, as we talking about breastfeeding, the even the bowel movement of the baby, the stools of the baby when they're breastfed, they don't smell. It's a
Wow.
different stool than formula. So guess what? That's show and tell. That tells you that it's better for your digestion. Now, ladies and men, significant men of ladies and spouses, when your woman, when that lady friend breastfeeds, guess what that does? It decreases her tendency to get breast cancer. I'm going to repeat that. A
Wow.
woman who breastfeeds significantly decreases her chances of getting breast cancer. Number one. Number two, when you breastfeed, guess what happens? There's something called uterine contraction. So your baby is doing your sit ups for you.
Mm.
So as a lot of the women say, "Ah, it hurts." It does hurt, by the way. By the way, I tell everybody in the beginning, it hurts because you're not used to that. And them little babies with the gums that don't even have teeth feel like they have teeth. They mean that suction, and you're like, whoa. So that first couple of days as that baby's attached, and you're almost like, whoa, it's like lightning. But
Yeah.
after a while, the nipples will get better and improve. And I've had these scaredy cat mamas in the room. I make them stay for 15, 20 minutes after I see the newborn. You're gonna breastfeed, and you're gonna breastfeed. Then by the
Right.
time
Right.
they're a month
Right.
old,
Right.
by the time they're a month or two old, when they're in the office, they're encouraging the other women. Yeah, Dr. Corder gonna make you pull out the breast and breastfeed, but it's all good. It's all good. So it saves the mother, it saves the baby, and of course it's the bonding. And guess what? In the middle of the night, instead of getting up, getting a bottle, pull out the breast, feed the
Yeah.
baby. It's
Jump on.
convenient. It's cheaper. It's no cost. Now you got
Right.
to make sure you eat decent, but it's no cost.
Right. Right.
So there it is.
There it is. That's everybody. That's Dr. Marilyn Corder. And shout out to our sponsors that are in the building tonight. We have Nathan Ingram. This is his magazine, which is a beautiful magazine. Like I said, #1 martial arts magazine. We have Leon Ellis in the building. Chocolate Fine Restaurant on 119th and Frederick Douglass. And he has also too Harlem Underground clothing line. Next Wednesday, I'm gonna have some of the shirts out. Stefania said, and we also have Jacob Ingram, Jacob Taxes. Ingram Taxes in the building. So we got our sponsors watching. Appreciate you all. Stefania said, breast is best. Period. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to sacrifice their lifestyle. I guess it is a change of lifestyle too. How long does and Pam? Shout out to Pam Riverside Live in the building. He said, I definitely recommend breastfeeding. Even Leon Ellis said, breastfeeding is always better for babies. Breastfed babies grow up to be better developed and adjusted adults. Do you agree with all that, Doc?
Oh my God. Oh, by the way, breast milk is good for a lot of other things. Good for pink eye. Okay.
Wow.
When that baby's eyes are irritated or anybody in the family, just get a little dropper, put that breast milk in it because it has natural antibodies.
Wow. So
And
Jacob,
in the press, if you need milk for your coffee, drop some breast milk. I'll never forget what.
Really? Get out of
Yes,
here.
yes. So my poor breastfeeding mothers, they felt so bad. They nursed and been, pumping and freezing. So they, with them being healthy, et cetera, we went to make sure that they're healthy. But they donated once their milk has been gone through, donated milk to these poor mothers who couldn't find formula. She said one of my breastfeeding mothers said someone came to her door and had heard that, she breastfed and she put on a mother's, they have the stream of mothers, whatever, breastfeeding mothers. And she said, whoever needs milk, please, by all means, no price, no cost. Because really, breast milk costs a lot of money. that extra ounce, that ounce or two, maybe all of $10. But anyway, she said, I would give you some free. And the lady knocked on her door and was in tears. And she gave her enough for 4 or 5 days and told her to come back if she couldn't find any more formula.
Wow. Leon said breastfed babies develop better bonds and relationships. All right.
And they're gut. And so the recommendation is to breastfeed at least 6 months. But many women, in my practice, and then generally, once they pass the 6 months or get to the 6 months, they go a whole year. Okay. And they wean down. Okay. So it's a little different. Someone said it's an experience. It's a life. I will say this. I won't say hinder or it changes. You adjust to it. I breastfed both of my children. I was already a physician on call, etc. I pumped during the day. And once I went back to work with the second child, I took off a whole year from my daughter. But my second child, I had to go back and finish up my residency. And I nursed him till he was 2.5 years old. Everybody laughed at me. We went to one of the plays up in New York, and I remember, I never forget, Freddie was talking. We weren't supposed to be with kids. He got to talking, and we had 2 in rows. And then all of a sudden, I knew how to quiet his butt. Big as me, I started nursing. Then all the relatives looking down. What's she doing? Belle is still breastfeeding. Well, look at that. I said, yeah, look at that. That's why he's smart.
yeah, exactly. And let me tell you something. All of Corders are some learned doctors and some educated people. It's always great to see you too, Leon. Leon, if you're not doing nothing Saturday, stop by the Row House. I don't know if you know, I'm kind of promoting again, and I'm doing a brunch thing. Maybe it might be something that we can see if we could bring it over to Chocolate. Tracy said, my child went from the breast to the cup. Okay, that's what's up.
That's right. No bottle. Good for you. Yeah.
And Cheryl White said, that's true, Doc. So, okay, so now we definitely talked about the breastfeeding. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I know you're on a birthday high, but I don't want to rev you up.
No, I'm not on a birthday high. I've had so many birthdays. I celebrated this weekend, but all right. I'm at work. Yeah. As you guys see, I'm at work. Okay. This is not my messy house. This is my messy office. But I wanted to make sure that I wasn't in the car, because sometimes if I'm traveling, I can't really concentrate for Real Talk. So I wanted to stay here for my cousin.
We only got you for another 35 minutes, and that's a beautiful thing. We ain't gonna keep you because of 8. Let me ask you a question. Since we talked about breastfeeding, and I guess this is going to segue into my next question. There's been a big thing about mental illness. I know we missed the autism month, but mental illness, gun control, and stuff like that. And because I just thought about this breastfeeding and how Leon was saying it makes a better child and a person. What are signs for people that have a young child that's growing up, and there's signs that you may be concerned about as a physician, and you see some mental illness signs that will segue into what we are seeing today, from Black on Black crime, Latin on Latin crime, to white on white crime? Because I'm gonna send you something too. A little white guy was out here shooting up the gas station. I think I sent that to you on WhatsApp, and from all these mass shootings and going around. So let's just delve into the mental illness aspect if you can, Doc.
So, that's an interesting topic. We've talked about that in a few of my circle. First of all, raising a child is a challenge. And many years ago, we had the whole village raising a child. Yes. And many years ago, we had to pop our children. Quiet as it's kept, my children got a few pops, okay? And
we come from a popping family. We do.
Right. We be popping. But what they say, spoil the ride, or spare the ride, spoil the child. And these kids sometimes cannot. Not only are they not stable because of things that their parents missed or ignored or didn't have the wherewithal, things that the village missed, the pediatrician missed, the schools. There are times when you hear the stories of these children, these folks, these shooters, when they were children or when they were younger, there were red flags. And we need to begin to understand the red flags. Sure, we want to make sure that they can't get a gun at 18 when they already, drawing guns and talking about killing people. And as soon as they turn 18, within hours, they're buying a gun. Yeah. Do you want to go before that? Certainly. You don't want them to get a gun. You want to have the background check. You want them to be at least 21. Like that's old. But as they are growing up, some of the anger management needs to be in place. You have children who will throw, who will kick, who will even say things like, I wish you were dead. I hate you. I hate my teachers. Well, first, those are words. And then some actions. When they do things, they might do something that, they throw something. Those are anger tactics. And that could be what we call aggression. That could be, there's several diagnoses that oppositional defiant comes quickly to mind. In other words, anybody who tells them what to do, even if it's something that saves their life, they didn't like it. So they're going to come back at you. Those people who are working, the guy went to his car, something happened at his job here in Maryland, and he came back and started shooting everybody in the lounge and the job site. Wow. Somebody said something. Okay. So we have to begin to recognize those, I call them landmines, mental landmines, and they can go off in a minute. And people know that. I mean, we talk domestic violence, and then the next thing you know, somebody is having a restraining order. He ignores that. He goes and kills the wife or the woman as well as himself. So I feel everyone has to have workshops updated themselves to understand not only themselves, but to recognize pathology and mental health. For the longest time, especially in our community, we have pushed it under the rug. We have said we are survivors. Yes, we are. We have said take it to the altar. Well, the churches are almost closed now, or been closed. And I do agree. I'm a Christian. Pray it up, but also you may have to talk it out. And that's so important. And parents, when you begin to see signs where that child is in the room and all he's doing is playing the videos, and these videos are guns and blowing people's heads off, and he's anti-socializing, and he's wearing weird stuff, and he's looking at things on the videos of folks of gun violence, and he's pulling up shooters and all of that. Those are signs. And of course, not to mention his room is full of guns. Okay.
Right.
And there's one thing of crime when somebody, robbing somebody, that's still bad. They got guns for that too. I mean, that's bad. We're doing some things here in the DMV area where people are turning in the guns, or making sure that if they have a ghost gun, if they want to register it, okay, they can register it sight unseen. But we also, so we have that. But these assault rifles, what are we doing? We're not in Ukraine. And that means they're going to take some people out. If it's not a school, it's a grocery store, it's a church, it's the job site, it's police officers, it's wherever and whomever.
And I'm glad you said that. Let me just deviate for 1 second. I had two questions from YouTube, and Kendra, my cousin Kendra from my mother's side, and she's a mother in 9 months, I think, not recently. So Dr. Corder said, Kendra, get the breastfeeding. If you ain't been breastfeeding, get the breastfeeding. I'm sure you have, because you're in the medical field. But the unknown reporter said, what about the OTC vitamins that help increase breast milk production? Is there any correlation to the ability of lactation tablets and milk shortages? I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so lactation tablets. So we have some things. We have lactation cookies. There's something called hops, which is beer without the alcohol in it. There are different things that will increase your prolactin, which will increase your breast milk production. But guess what? The best increase of your breast milk production? Putting that baby on the breast. It's called supply and demand. I have sets of twins in my practice that the mother exclusively breastfeeds. And people are like, what? No formula? Right. Because your breast will supply as that baby is demanding. So as they catch up, in the beginning, you have overflow because your body doesn't know if you had twins, triplets, or a single birth. But then it begins to adjust to that baby's appetite. So we have the tablets, yes, and we have the cookies and the beverages, yes, but we also have every hour or every 2 hours in the beginning, putting the baby to the breast, even if it's just for 15, 20 minutes, and that will get the production up.
Wow. Now, We also coming in from YouTube, Edison Davis said, when we're talking about mental illness, she said, can we touch on a topic about the drunk Marine who brutally attacking a teenager on the highway, throwing him into incoming traffic? Now, I didn't hear about it, but Edison, I definitely will look this up after the show and talk about this definitely Wednesday. And he said it was Manhattan on the FDR northbound side. So is that maybe, because now, see, I think a lot of times, now this is my personal feelings. Now, that's why we have a doctor here, so we can get a professional feelings. I see you, New York, in the building. We talked about upbringing. You and I were from a village that our parents put hands on us. You know what I'm saying? We didn't want to try them, and then we didn't want to try Jesus because they would have made sure we met Jesus, right?
Yes, yes.
A lot of that has changed over the years, timeouts and stuff like that. And I get it. But I think even with that, there was a time when it still instilled fear. This new generation, like you said, they're isolated. You can hear people talk about today, punishment is taking away the Wi-Fi. I never heard of no shit like that. Take away Wi-Fi. I'm mad because I can't watch my sports or something like that, or can't get online. But I may not be able to pay bills before it's due. And but the thing is, I don't care whether you use Wi-Fi. Take your little derriere outside and play. But I see a big problem in the generation today that they talk back. They're more volatile. And if I may just be really generic with this and say this, it's really just being spoiled. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe a good old fashioned ass whipping kind of makes things, as we call it from the streets, some act right. With that being said, the signs of, now we're talking about mental illness in a Marine. So that's post traumatic stress, right? But we're talking about seeing the signs of playing with guns too much. And when you're a child, like I said, I believe in all people should bear arms. But if you can't rent a car until you're 25 years old, you can't buy cigarettes and alcohol until you're 21, then why should you be able to buy an assault rifle? I'm not saying your parents or big cousin or whomever, your father, can't teach you how to use one. But we're talking about assault rifle. I'm not hearing these stories about people breaking into some houses and getting assault rifles or shooting up the police. I don't know. Maybe in rural countries it may be happening. And Edison, a lot. You said during the incident, his words were slurring. Edison said the Marine's name was Jose Armand Mateo, 33 years old. And during the incident, his words were slurring. That's terrible. Like I said, Doc, I know, like I said, when you start seeing the signs from just a medical standpoint of babies being a little different and growing up as adults, and then we see these things. So with these mass shootings, people are going to try to say mental illness. But when you are shooting somebody in Buffalo and you're shooting all these black people, and then you get to that white person and you say, "Oh, sorry," to me, that's not mental illness. That's premeditated, right? When you go to a school and you're shooting babies and you know who you're shooting, you went someplace directly. Now, I'm not saying people, and you help me out, I'm not saying people that have mental problems can't, differentiate between certain things and correlate certain things. But where do we differentiate from a medical standpoint if you had to be called as a witness on the court? Like and they talk about, analyze this person. Like, help me figure this out from a medical standpoint to a legal standpoint in a criminal.
A lot of loaded, a lot of.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of milk in that.
I tell you,
breast, yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just start by that baby, that child's environment. If he or she sees a lot of anger and violence and abuse in the environment, and no respect for life, no respect for feelings, no respect for whatever, be it racism and all, okay, no respect for somebody who looks different, then that child has already began to be imprinted with that hatred, Okay. Be it whatever we call it. Now, going to from that where there's no real love, there's no respect for humans, respect for a person's feelings, um, respect for a person's property, and he or she goes to school. And it's like, I don't have to do anything because my daddy gonna come up and fight your daddy or whatever, and then it becomes I'm gonna fight you. So it's like for lack of a better example, that person, the buck stops with them no matter what. They are um, out of control before you realize they're out of control. When a child comes in and I'm saying to them, I'm going to draw some blood, or you're going to come, to the doctor's office. I can see them from the front door before they even get to the back, kicking and screaming and hollering, cussing their mothers out. I don't want to be here. Then I want to say, let me have that child for a few minutes in the bathroom. You know how you go to the bathroom with a child. I can't do that. And unfortunately, the village can no longer do that. When I was growing up, the teachers, the neighbors, the hairstylist, the barber, everybody can smack your child upside their head. Okay. Yes, I'm not encouraging abuse, but I'm encouraging control.
We're talking past. We're talking history.
Right. Instruction. So when they took prayer out of school, when they took the parents, the discipline, the teacher can't discipline. I'm not saying abuse a child, but sit your butt in there, make sure you just call that parent. The parent come up, and the parents could come up and spank and pop the kids. I'll never forget. So many of my classmates' parents come up, and we knew what was happening when they went to the other room, or they would do it in front of the kids.
Your uncle tore this.
From that point, you only take that one time. Then it's called PTSD. All right, you remember that, and you're like, whoa. And you're afraid, and you are more afraid of your parents and the teacher than you are for the police. So it's like, I'm not even going to be in front of the police, talking or whatever, or doing whatever the heck I want to do, because I know I already got straightened up. So some of it is poor raising. And if the parent didn't get raised right, next week, it's like a vicious cycle, and it continues. And then they get upset when they have to go visit their loved one in jail, because their loved one done stole, done robbed, done carjacked. I have patients of mine who are carjackers. Girls, well, I got boys too, but girls, carjacking, 15 years old. Don't have a license, but they like that car. So it's a lot. Now, going back, let's talk about drug use, and let's talk about alcohol.
Okay.
Many people who drink alcohol excessively. Now, we can all have a drink socially, but excessively are having that's an illness. It's called alcoholism. And we need to stop saying, oh, they just drunks on the corner. That's an illness. That's a mental health issue. Same with drugs. That's a mental health issue. They're running away from something. They can't deal. We need to help them before they kill somebody on the road, drunk driving, or before they get so to the point where they get so frustrated and they get a gun. So there's a lot of peel to this onion as we unravel it and get all the way to the center of it. And as we do that, you'll find where it started. Hopefully it didn't start in utero, but you'll find where he got away with that. And mama bought him $300 tennis shoes, but he cussed her out yesterday. He had to have this. He's getting F's, but the mother said he don't like the teacher anyway. So it just begins to build and build and build.
So it's just almost placating and pacifying the situation, this behavior, to now.
Because let me tell you, it's hard to raise a kid. It's easy not to raise a child.
Right.
And then they're raised by wolves, and they're raised by the street. It's hard to stay on top of them, police them, make sure that's a lot. That's called real parenting. Yes. Otherwise, these parents want to be the friends of the kids. They getting high with them. They want to be, I don't want them not to like me. Well, guess what? They'll shoot your head off before they go out the door and shoot everybody else's head off.
Yeah.
You're trying to be their friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember
it's crazy. Go ahead.
One of my kids, who was it? I think it was little Freddie, came home and he said, I did something or said something or took something away from him. I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend. I said, it's okay. You don't have to be my friend. You're my son, and I have a responsibility, But it was the cutest thing, Absolutely. But I'm not trying to be anybody's friend that came out of my uterus. I'm trying to make sure that at least I raise them to be law-abiding citizens. Absolutely.
Now the friendship can come as we become adults.
Oh, yeah, we're friends now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
They looking at me. They both of them looking at me. Oh, you should have been so and so's mother. Look what happened to them. I wish, they. Yeah, well, I'm the same mother that you said they could get to do it. Why can't me? Because they don't. You don't live here. They don't live here. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what happens in my house.
Now Pookie in jail. You still want to
Right.
be
Right.
like
Exactly. And one of them went to jail. Check fraud. This that. And Nikki in jail. Got this. Got that. But Nikki was the one who Adrian wanted to hang with. Nikki and Adrian had the same birthday. They came up. Matter of fact, on when they turned 13 or 16, New York. So, but it was just that she had too much freedom.
Yeah. I have some comments. Everybody, this is Real Talk. This is Dr. Marilyn Corder, and I am Bill Forster. If you're watching from YouTube, subscribe to it. If you're watching from Facebook, share it, please. Also, remember to give, before Doctor, all during the show, we give her some hearts because it was her birthday. We got her for another 20 minutes, less than that. Kendra said, my parents were just saying how there was a general human code back in the day where you just had basic respect for others, regardless of everyone chastise everyone else's kid and respect for God. The line has been blurred and crossed now. You're right, because let me tell you something. There is no way that I could walk down the street seeing Miss Sanchez or Miss Wilder or anybody carrying something, a bag, and I didn't help. Let me tell you something. My men, my boys, some of the roughest killers in the world would carry my mother's bags down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they got on drugs, to this day, if he's watching, he will tell you, Tony, listen, drugs wasn't like that. He respected my mother and father. They would talk to him, encourage him to get off the drug. He would help make sure my mother walked through them streets of Harlem. And so to this day, he is my brother for life. I see you, Sue. Now, I'm going to talk to Edison Davis and the unknown reporter. A lot of you, what you're talking about tonight, we're going to talk about Wednesday. So make sure you come back Wednesday. But they're asking me a question. They say, can you touch on reactive attachment disorder? Is that something you know about? Or I don't know. I've never heard of that. Not that
Say that again.
He says, can you touch on reactive attachment disorder?
I cannot. I'm going to be virgin. I cannot. Because I'm not an expert on that. And I know that different, I'm a behavioral health doc, but I do a lot, but a lot of folks, I'll just say what that is it has to do in general, it has to do with, problems with attachment. Okay. Let me just start by that. And unfortunately, and that's why I said, even with breastfeeding, etc., you want to make sure that that person has a good foundation of attachment and relationships. And that reactive attachment disorder will, be it's a clinical assessment that people make, and it's one of those. I'm trying to keep it out of medical terms and do more layman terms.
Absolutely.
And no remorse. I want to say Donald Trump is an example, but he's narcissistic, etc. But it's insecurity. And sometimes when you might be raised by this person, that person, and daddy's in and out, mom's in and out, whatever, it's a disorder that they react to because it was not a good foundation. It's like a house built with straws, etc. And so then the reactive attachment disorder that they have can spill into how they deal with their friends, classmates, what's going on with their violence. Sometimes they can be fascinated by violence. They can be fascinated by fires setting. They don't give a regard towards property, towards life, along that. So it's like we used to use the word raised by wolves. Okay.
Right.
And that is an example. I say that because there's a difficulty in making friends, difficulty in relationships. They don't have confidence. They have destructive behavior. I feel like they're exploding on the inside and just can't develop because as an infant or as a young person, they didn't have that security of love and that security of bonding, and
Mm-hmm.
it begins to show itself in an older person. And it could be, you know, how some people say, "Oh, he just hurt my feelings," etc., and they seem to be so cold, or so harsh, and they just can't help it because they're my son calls them reptiles. He says, "Mom, you cannot expect a reptile to have feelings." And so some people in our lives, he'll say, "It's a reptile." And once you recognize that, it's
Yeah.
like you can't reason with them because you over here with love and attachment and feelings and concern, and they over here like a robot, and they'll come at you with all the force and have no regard and have
Mm-hmm.
no remorse.
Wow. Listen, everybody, that's Dr. Corder. Lou, like you said, Lou Yorkson, he said we have respect for our parents. Respect. He said they use them hands. Also, too, the unknown reporter said it was also known as RAD, RADS. So listen, that's a good thing, and I'm sure we'll look deep into that and find out. So we have a few minutes. If there's any questions that you have for the doctor, hey Gina, how are you? If anybody has questions for the doctors, any health questions, real quick, ask her. So we'll open it up. And you can answer any questions. Otherwise than that, the doctor and I are gonna just chop it up about anything else health related, CBDs, strokes. What are the signs of a stroke?
Ooh, that can be the great masquerader.
Right.
So we typically think of signs of a stroke is only when you can't talk, you're drooling, and you have a headache. And if somebody takes your blood pressure, it's probably high because you didn't take your medicine, or you may not have known you had hypertension.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have a stroke without having those signs. A stroke can be just plain chest pain. A stroke can be some weakness in your hands and your arm. A stroke can just be a headache. You might vomit. It can feel like a flu, and that's such a large array of any types of symptomatology. One thing I will say, and people don't understand, that things like diabetes, anything that's actually off balance can give you a stroke. Some people will say, well, that means you have a bleeding, what we call angiogram, a bleeding in your head where a blood vessel pops. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also have what we just call a episode where it's, how can I say, it's beyond a blood vessel popping. Of course, that's one thing, but you can stroke out by your pressure being so high that you have an infarct, which is just a big word for that area of that brain going numb, cutting out the lights. And sometimes, depending upon where that area is, it can begin to interfere with your vision. You could have a stroke. You could have some visual disturbance and be experiencing a stroke. It doesn't have to be slurred speech. So COVID has given more people strokes than never before. COVID infection, because it's inflammation of the brain. That what we call long COVID. We're gonna have a show. We're gonna end up having two shows. I'm gonna have to do a Monday and a Wednesday for
Whatever
follow
you
up
want to.
on long with LONG, long COVID, because
Yeah.
millions of people have had COVID. Now we know a million have died, but millions of people have had COVID and they're past the acute phase, which is like the week or two, but they still have some differences and things in their body happening that they don't even understand. It's called inflammation, different from liver to kidneys. One of my good friends who runs a dialysis center, in terms of she's one of the head nurses, she said she's never seen so many folks who have lost their kidneys, what we call renal failure. Common denominator is having had COVID infection.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, wow.
so this is the time you really, really want to monitor your blood pressure, etc.
Yeah, and it's so much, especially with this weather, and it could be hot, overweight, whatever. And I'm sure it's not an overweight thing. It's stress. I'm sure there's so many different things that can lead to a stroke. And I think we all have to stop worrying and be more cognizant, drink more water, whatever it is that you need to do to exercise, walk, get a little circulation in the veins and stuff like that. Stefania said, she asked, of course, she said, happy birthday and hello, Doc. She
Hey,
says, She said, "What are your thoughts on monkeypox?"
I don't really know. I mean, I don't know. You know, I'm gonna tell you.
Yo, there's some
What I
shit
don't
in
know,
the
I'm gonna
States
tell
coming
you.
all over the place, right? Like I know, like, oh my
I know
God.
one thing. It's here. We had 4 cases in DC alone.
Mhm.
I don't know what to say, guys. Now, look, quiet as it's kept. Your cousin and Dr. Corder both used to have a monkey. Okay.
Yeah, and I had a monkey too. Remember Stan? I had a little squirrel monkey.
Stan. And my monkey was called Christopher. So it's a long. We're weird. I know. We don't have monkeypox. Trust me, I don't have monkeypox. Okay, but I told something people don't know.
Hilarious. Yeah, listen, this right now you getting vintage Forster. Oh my God. we didn't even have a glass of wine or nothing. We just
we haven't. No,
right?
and I'm still at work. Hey.
Right, exactly. We have a question. Shatavala Dudley, do you think that we'll come out with a monkeypox vaccine before it spreads like COVID? I hope I pronounced your name properly. I apologize. I might have butchered it.
You butchered that one. Bless her heart. Bless her heart. He didn't mean it.
You know who the person is?
What?
You know who the person is? I just butchered their name, Dudley. If not, anyway, go ahead. I just apologize for butchering their name. Yeah.
Do I think they need to come out with monkeypox vaccination? I don't know. You know, as we didn't know about COVID, I have to see, and this is to be continued. I have to see the numbers. We see some increase. We heard about it when it wasn't here. Now we hear about it and it's here. I don't trust anybody. I tell you what, I got boxes and boxes of these. Y'all better put these on. K95, you better put these on. Summertime is here. Everybody is tired of being inside, but people are still getting COVID over here. People are calling me every day, canceling their appointment. By the way, Doc, I got COVID 2 weeks last week. Should I still come in for my appointment? No. I need another week. I'm going beyond the CDC. What do they know? I need another extra week of quarantining for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Curtis, shout out to Curtis. Curtis, you was in the hospital recently. I don't know what it was for. Curtis Ali. He said silent MI. I don't know what that is. What is it?
Myocardial infarction.
Okay.
M is in Mary, I is in infarction. So that's called a silent heart attack. And you know what's interesting? Quite a few people, after when they go to the doctor and they get certain things done, we call it an echocardiogram. It's different than the EKG. The EKG is when they put the little probes on you and they watch and see what we call the different parameters of your heart. But echo looks more, I think I'll call it ED. I mean, it tells you more information, and you'll see how what we call the contraction of the muscles of your ventricles. So if you think of your heart if you think of an apartment building as 2 upstairs and 2 downstairs, and the doors are all open and you're running up and down and all the way around, your heart, the blood goes that way. Because people say, somebody got a hole in their heart. Well, you better have 4 holes in your heart for the blood to go through. Okay, we just talk about a murmur, but we also want to make sure that you understand that an infarct often would be an insult to the muscle. One of the muscles, be it your ventricles or your arteries or an area of your heart muscle, because your heart is a big muscle. An area of your heart muscle being damaged, like bothered. And the coronaries, there's something called our blood vessels of our heart are called coronaries. And sometimes they can be blocked. You'll hear people saying they got stents where they opening up the vessels. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 stents that they found that they needed because of the blood flow. But an MI, going back to the original question, is a myocardial infarction that some people, when they have a mild one, they may not know they had one. When they have a massive one, okay, you in the ICU, or you have seen you went through the pearly gates. So when it's a massive one. But unfortunately, there are some quiet heart attacks. So we talked about strokes and we talked about heart attacks tonight.
And Gina Buttercup Harvey Claybook, I ran it all out. She said, my aunt just was sitting looking at TV and had a stroke. Nobody could tell she was having one until she wasn't responding to anyone. Wow.
Well, my daddy had a stroke 4th of July I was in the office. We were here circumcising one of my godchildren. And Freddie was at grandma's house, my father and mother's house. And Daddy had just had some ribs the night before, and Freddie said he was eating ribs right there. And all of a sudden, and I'm laughing. I'm not laughing, but I'm laughing because he lived 10 years and 15 years afterwards. But Freddie said, all of a sudden, Granddaddy was talking funny. And my mother, Doris Jean, said, Theodore, so why are you talking like that? And he was talking.
Exactly.
And his mouth was drooling. And so he had a stroke, but he survived it. But sometimes they could just be sitting there like your aunt watching television when he was sitting there eating. And then he had a stroke. Yep.
Wow. Shout out to our family, our history. It's so funny. And you was talking about COVID. I see you, Melvin Ross is in the building. I got to hang out with my man for a few seconds. We was down at the Capitol Jazz Festival, and it was really a good look. It wasn't, of course, as crowded as it used to be because of COVID, and I'm sure people are just trying to get back into the swing of things. But the one thing, people still can catch COVID, even if you're vaccinated. And I'm sure right now you see so many different people that are unbeknown to them. You don't know if it's a cold, allergies, or COVID, right? Like there's just so many.
Or flu.
Or the flu. Right. They're talking about, I think, a new shot, Moderna coming out with something new, improved. Okay. Let's say, I guess, we'll see what's happening, what's coming. That's all I can say is like, okay, we'll see what's coming up.
And I'm gonna say something unconventional. The first shot I got, second shot, I'm tired of shots. I'm gonna be very
yeah.
But I'm tired of COVID. So it's like, and as much as you can protect yourself, like I said, wear these things. As much as you can protect yourself and get your zinc, get your immune boost. I got my CBD immune boost. I'm rocking it 2 a day. I do my CBD coffee. I'm doing the natural thing, y'all. I'm telling you. And Z and Stefan, a couple of y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, because I do my CBD. You talk about one of the major immune protectors. Okay.
You got me on it. I might have to take one of them little gummies because I got to go get a knee injection tomorrow. Some gel shot in my knee. So I probably might take one of them gummies just to
cool out. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Curtis said the first sign of I guess a stroke is the facial dropping. I guess it's the first sign. Stefania said, "Oh, I know, it's the truth." Stefania definitely co-signed you. What's up, Sharon? Darren Joseph in the building. I see you, Ruth. Everybody, that's Dr. Marilyn Corder. I am Bill Forster. This is Real Talk with Dr. Marilyn Corder. If you ever have topics that you want to talk with the doctor about, the unknown reporter said, is there any research indicating the lack of a receptor similar to the CCR5 and the individual's immune to HIV, but for COVID?
Not that I'm aware, but they're studying. It's interesting. You should ask that. We were just talking about even something called EB virus, Epstein-Barr virus, which is like the people who get Bell's palsy, et cetera, which is a virus that can be debilitated in terms of their receptors, their immune system, et cetera. So immunologically, there are quite a few studies that are underway for those immune systems and the different, I call them the protector cells, the T cells that we put out for protection in terms of our immune system. So identifying exactly which cells are our, we talk about the T cells and the B cells, et cetera, but the specifics of which cells are your best fight for COVID and who has the most and why they have the most genetically, et cetera. So I think some of the factors of how some people succumb to COVID, certainly age, comorbidities, their immune system was down. And I think some of it's genetic. So, it's multifactorial. But great questions. What's that?
Unknown reporter out of YouTube.
Unknown reporter. I like your conversations.
Yeah. You got some questions. You definitely, y'all coming with the smoke. Tracy said, at some point, I would like to have a conversation about breast cancer, which unfortunately is a money maker, and more education is needed about it and inform people of their choices for treatment. So I guess we can put that on our list. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would like, also we need to talk about fibroids in
Okay.
Black women.
Okay. Well,
That they don't need to have all these hysterectomies.
yeah. All right.
Sometimes changing your diet. Okay. And if you do anything, you can get what we call a uterine artery embolization, which just blocks that artery that's supplying that fibroid, and it just turns from a grape to a raisin, and it cuts off the circulation as opposed to taking your uterus out. Now I can talk about that. I didn't have 3 surgeries for uterus. I still got my uterus. I don't know why I still got it, but I got it. So anyway, but anyway, I am the mother.
Oh, listen, Doc, you let me
I haven't had anything to drink, but I'm keeping it real.
I love it. Well, everybody, you ask the doc, she gives you the answers. Doc, you come back anytime you want. She's here the second Monday of the month. Unknown Rapper said, I appreciate the engagement. I enjoyed this show. I'll definitely be back. Thanks for the knowledge. Absolutely.
Unknown reporter. He's an unknown reporter, cuz.
Yes, exactly. The unknown reporter.
Who might be a rapper too. We don't know. But he's an unknown reporter.
You unknown, exactly, right?
I love it.
So, Delsina, how are you? I know you just had some surgery recently. How are you feeling? My Rochelle said, my daughter Desiree had a stroke after delivering twins. I had a different understanding of life. She is fine now. Wow.
Woo! Having a baby is more than just having a baby. I mean, your whole body goes into a shock. And see, this is why, we talk about women, no matter what their social economics, Black women have high infant mortality and maternal mortality and morbidity. Mortality, of course, they die, but morbidity means something like a stroke, a heart attack, kidney problems, they're in the ICU, etc. We have to have our access to our health, pregnant and not pregnant, because we bring a lot. Stress brings a lot of our problems on, and then of course not monitoring things. Wow. Congratulations on the twins.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's so funny? Great questions, Tracy and Rochelle, and great questions, everybody from YouTube to Facebook. Like you said, talking about fibroids. Doc, you said fibroids, and Tracy also, she wanted to talk about
breast cancer.
Breast cancer. So the doc, she comes back when she wants, but she'll definitely be back on the second Monday of the month. We have Assemblyman Al Taylor here on the first. We have Dr. Marilyn Corder. And Doc, even if you want to piggyback on Allison's shows too, sometime, well, you got, you family, so you piggyback on anybody's show. All you got to do is be like, I want to come in. And I'm like, okay.
Like a photo bomber. I'm going to be a
exactly.
Real Talk bomber.
just come busting in. Everybody, that's Dr. Marilyn Corder. This is Real Talk. We're getting out of here. If you have questions, always write them down. She's coming on the second Monday of the month. Have them ready for her, because she giving a hot hour strong, a strong hour, and then she's out of here. She like Kaiser Soze, she gone. You know what I'm saying? So,
I'm dropping the mic, but today I'm Marilyn Foster Corder.
Beautiful. Shout out to our family, the Fosters. And I was thinking of that one day too, before I let you go. I was like, if we was to ever go on Family Feud, I was trying to figure out who we could take. We would have to rep the Foster name, but
that's right.
Who we go? Because let me tell you something. They're probably our ancestors up in the heavens would be clapping. Grandma and everybody, our fathers, mothers, all of them, they'd be clapping. Talk about, I knew you wasn't gonna get that. I don't know what's wrong.
But look, I'll say this and then I'm out. I know who we wouldn't take.
Or that we're both out of here. Good night, everybody. Everybody.
Love you.
Cuz. Everybody, that's Dr. Marilyn Corder. Give us some hearts up for her birthday and everything. She's getting out of here. Give us some love. I'm just going to close out with some sponsors. Go ahead, Doc. I'll see you later, man.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. So, listen, Doc, she brings it. Thank you for the hearts for her birthday. Shout out to the Dr. Marilyn Corder for celebrating her birthday. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Appreciate all the questions. You ask questions I'm learning along with you. Shout out to the Unknown Reporter and the other people that are chiming in on YouTube for asking the great questions. Shout out to all of you that's on Facebook Live that were asking the great questions. Great dialogue and exchange with the doc. and always supporting us. Listen, this Saturday, if you're not doing nothing, stop by Row House from 1 to 8. I'm doing my brunch party with assorted flavors. Come on, say hi to Malika and I. You know, you ain't got to stay long. If you don't want to have brunch, you know, you can come and have a drink. You know, we out there having cigars. What's up, Anna, David? Sisters in the building. Also, first Monday of the month, Al Taylor, Assemblyman Al Taylor. Second Monday of the month, Dr. Marilyn Corder. The third Monday of the month, Allison Williams, First Lady of Def Jam. The fourth, Pastor Kevin Graves. And on Wednesday, I have Chuck, Richard, and Kevin. And we're talking about some stuff. You all have given me some information to look into about the Marine that hurt the individual, pulled him out his car on the FDR. I don't know if you heard about that. Let me scroll back. He dragged him out the car. Jose Ahmad Mateo. And then also, Yolanda sent me some information in regards to a case that happened with a young man getting beat up, I think, in the Bronx, too. I don't know if that's the same case. So let me give the sponsors some shout outs. Shout out to Leon Ellis that was in the building, Chocolat, Harlem Underground, Melba Wilson. Shout out to Melba. These are all the sponsors. Deadly Arts of Survival Magazine. 6th edition, Wesley Snipes. And, you know, it's so funny. I was in the 2nd edition, which was a great blessing. But also, this is why when I say we should support each other, listen, that's why they get the shout outs all the time like that. Ingram Taxes. Shout out to Ingram Taxes. There's still no taxes that they still can help you with, even though the season may slow down a little. People are still having tax problems. Shout out to Ingram Taxes. I said Reggie Wells, Soft Illusions Art Gallery. Malika and her mother up for the art gallery of the year, one of the top art galleries in Philadelphia. So my wife and her mother doing their thing. Shout out to the Soft Illusions Art Gallery. Just to show you some of the work. Excuse me for a minute. I'm sliding off camera, but you know, this is one of the Callan abstract art. You know, shout out to them doing all their things. What month are we in right now? Let me get right to that month so I can show you what the design for this month is before we get out of here. This is the color for June, right? Hope you can see it. It may be a little hard. I apologize. There you go. So that's the color for June. Everybody, Real Talk. Hope to see you soon. I appreciate it. Milagroso Rosario. Don't mind me, everybody. I tear a name up. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm on Instagram. Bill Foster Jr. 06. Unknown rapper. Bill Foster Jr. 06. Everybody, who you got tonight going in the games? Dubs, Celtics, Yankees are on a roll, Mets are on a roll. Shout out to the Rangers. They did their thing. All right, let's go. I'm New York, baby, all day, every day. See you tonight. Let's talk about it. Real talk.